I sit cross-legged on the hardwood floor of my parents' Portland living room, surrounded by torn wrapping paper and the artificial pine scent of Christmas morning. The lights on the tree blink softly, reflecting off ornaments that have hung in the same places for decades. Across from me, my younger sister Madeline Harper twirls a set of shiny BMW keys around her manicured fingers. The metal catches the glow of the Christmas lights as she spins in a small, excited circle, laughing like a teenager instead of a 32-year-old woman. "I can't believe it," she squeals, bouncing on her toes. My own Beamer. My father, Robert Harper, beams at her with unfiltered pride, his chest puffed out as if the car were his personal achievement. My mother, Susan Harper, clasps her hands beneath her chin, eyes shining as though she's witnessing a miracle rather than a purchase. Through the front window, the car sits in the driveway, a glossy white symbol of devotion, crowned with an enormous red bow that probably cost more than my entire Christmas combined. Meanwhile, I stare down at the object resting in my lap. A plastic piggy bank, shaped like a smiling cartoon character from a children's show I outgrew more than 25 years ago. The price tag still clings to its side. $1.99. "Open it," Mom urges, nodding toward the small rubber stopper at the bottom. Her voice carries that bright, expectant tone I learned long ago not to trust. My fingers feel stiff, almost numb, as I pull the stopper loose. 2 crisp $1 bills flutter out and land against my palm. "It's the start of your future home fund, honey," Dad says, waving his hand dismissively. "You're always so responsible with money. Not like some people." He winks at Madeline, who presses a hand to her chest and pretends to look offended. Everyone laughs. The sound stretches too long in the air. Mom rushes in to fill the silence. Madeline needs reliable transportation for her new graphic design clients. Those creative types expect a certain image, you know. Madeline drops onto the couch beside me, her expensive perfume flooding my senses. "Don't worry, Evie," she says brightly, patting my knee. "I'll drive you whenever you need. Your little Toyota must be on its last legs by now. The Toyota that carried me through 7 hours of mountain passes just yesterday. The Toyota I paid off myself 3 years ago. The Toyota that has never once let me down, unlike the people in this room." My chest tightens. I struggle to draw a full breath. 34 years of moments like this crystallize with brutal clarity. This isn't an exception. It's a pattern, woven into the fabric of my entire life. Just this morning, I placed my carefully wrapped gifts beneath the tree. A leather briefcase for Dad that cost 2 weeks of my salary. A silver bracelet Mom admired in a Seattle boutique window. A professional camera lens Madeline casually mentioned wanting. Every item purchased by setting aside a little from each paycheck for months. All of it, chosen with hope. I'd rehearsed my announcement during the entire drive down from Seattle. Senior structural engineer. The promotion I earned through nights and weekends of extra work, designing buildings meant to outlast us all. I imagined their faces lighting up with pride. Maybe, finally, seeing me as something more than Madeline's reliable older sister. Maybe this Christmas will be different, I whispered to myself at every rest stop, every gas station, every mile marker. My hands tremble as I place the piggy bank on the glass coffee table. The hollow plastic sound echoes louder than it should. "Excuse me," I manage, my voice thin and unfamiliar. "Bathroom." I walk, don't run, up the familiar stairs, past the wall of family photos where Madeline's face dominates nearly every frame. Soccer trophies. Art showcases. Smiling school portraits. My own presence feels like an afterthought. The bathroom door clicks shut behind me. I twist the lock. My reflection stares back, eyes too dry, expression too controlled. I press my palms against the cold marble counter, waiting for tears that refuse to come. Instead, pressure builds in my chest, heavy and suffocating, like concrete setting around my lungs. People talk about heartbreak like it's abstract. It isn't. I feel every chamber of my heart tightening painfully. Blood struggling through narrowing vessels. My sternum aches, as if someone has pressed a knee into it. This is what dying feels like, I think. Not dramatic. Just diminishing. Downstairs, laughter drifts up through the vents, Madeline's voice bright and carefree, as she and my parents discuss her first road trip in the new car. Their excitement slices through me. I slide down until I'm sitting on the bathroom floor, back against the cabinet, breathing shallow and slow. Something inside me shifts, quiet but decisive. This isn't about a car. It never was. It's about what I'm worth to them. And for the first time in my life, the answer feels painfully clear. The night stretches endlessly, as I lie awake in my childhood bedroom, staring at the faint glow of street lights slipping through the curtains. Every familiar object feels smaller than I remember, the bookshelf, the dresser, even the bed that once felt like refuge. Downstairs, laughter drifts upward again. Madeline's laughter. Bright, effortless, carried on the warmth of belonging. At 2:17 a.m., I sit up. The decision settles in my chest with a strange calm. I pack quickly, methodically, taking only what matters. The faded stuffed bear my grandmother gave me. A photo album from college. A small wooden box containing my first professional blueprint, the one I framed before I ever framed a diploma. The expensive gifts I've given my parents over the years remain where they are. They were never about gratitude anyway. The house is silent as I carry my suitcase down the stairs. I pause in the kitchen, the hum of the refrigerator oddly loud. My house key lies cold in my palm before I place it beside the coffee maker, set to brew in 3 hours. They've made their choice. Now I'm making mine. Streetlights blur into watery halos as I pull onto the empty highway. The dashboard clock reads 3:42 a.m., Christmas morning. Snow thickens as my windshield wipers fight to keep up. Bing Crosby croons about white Christmases from the radio. I twist the volume knob until the song fades into silence. Have yourself a merry little Christmas, I whisper to the empty passenger seat. The word merry tastes bitter. Through Portland's southern outskirts, my Toyota's heater struggles against the December chill. 7 years old. 200,000 miles. It carried me through college, first jobs, promotions. It never complained about mountain passes or tight parking spots. Unlike the gleaming BMW sitting in my parents' driveway, my car earned its place in my life. Around 6, my phone buzzes against the center console. Mom? Not are you safe? Not please come home. Just a text asking whether I remembered to pay the electric bill for the family cabin before leaving Seattle. The cabin they bought for weekend getaways. The cabin Madeline uses for Instagram photo shoots. A semi-truck roars past, spraying slush across my windshield. For 3 terrifying seconds, I drive blind. My hands shake as the wipers finally clear enough space to see. Memories flood in faster than the wipers can push them away. My 5th birthday. Madeline's princess party, pony rides, professional decorations, a 3-tier castle cake. 30 neighborhood kids. My birthday the following year. A grocery store sheet cake. 2 friends from kindergarten. Paper plates from the dollar bin. Your sister needs social stimulation, Dad explained. You're more independent. Independent. Their word for you don't need us. High school graduation. Valedictorian. My carefully written speech about persistence and dreams. Empty seats in the family section, because Madeline's junior varsity soccer team had an away game. We'll watch the recording, Mom promised. The VHS tape stayed unplayed on my dresser until I left for college. Your sister needs encouragement, she said. You always succeed without our help. Without help. They're code for you're on your own. College years blur by as highway signs count down miles toward the California border. Working 25 hours a week at the campus bookstore and cafeteria. Taking maximum course loads to graduate early. Stretching scholarships and loans thin. While Madeline found herself across Europe on our parents' dime. Your sister needs to explore, Dad insisted during one of our rare phone calls. You've always known who you are. Known who I am. Their code for you don't deserve the same investment. My phone buzzes again. Dad this time. I let it ring until voicemail catches it. The sky begins to pale at the horizon as dawn creeps in. Tears blur the oncoming headlights into golden streaks. I pull onto the shoulder, hazard lights blinking, and press my forehead against the steering wheel. The pattern snaps into focus. Dad controls the money. Withholds it from me. Funnels it toward Madeline. Mom controls emotions. Twists guilt into obedience. Makes me feel selfish for wanting even scraps of attention. A perfect system. My phone rings again, this time a different name. Rachel Moreno. My college roommate. My constant. My friend. Where are you? She asks, her voice warm with concern. Heading south, I reply. My voice sounds hollow, unrecognizable. To where? I don't know. There's a pause. Then, come to San Francisco. Stay with me. Family doesn't treat family like this. Rachel knows. She saw the evidence firsthand. The care packages I received filled with practical necessities while Madeline got designer clothes. The holidays I spent alone in the dorms while my parents took Madeline to Aspen and Maui. I don't want to impose, I start. Stop, she says firmly. You've spent your whole life being the helper. Let someone help you for once. Something inside me cracks open. Okay, I whisper. Text me your location every hour. Drive safe. I am making up the guest room. When the call ends, I merge back onto the highway. Snow continues to fall, but for the first time since leaving Portland, my shoulders lower slightly. I keep driving south, away from everything I've ever known, and towards something I've never allowed myself to want. By 7:30 a.m., I cross the California state line. The Welcome to California sign gleams in the early sunlight like a quiet promise. My phone screen lights up with 17 missed calls and 32 messages. With deliberate calm, I turn off notifications from Robert, Susan, and Madeline. The silence that follows feels heavier than any accusation, but cleaner, too. My stomach growls, reminding me I haven't eaten since Christmas Eve dinner. A small roadside diner peers ahead, its neon open sign flickering bravely against the pale morning. I pull into the nearly empty parking lot. Inside, warmth wraps around me like a blanket. Coffee-scented air. The sizzle of a grill somewhere in the back. An older waitress with silver-streaked hair approaches, already pouring coffee into a thick ceramic mug. Rough night, she asks gently. Her name tag reads Gloria. Rough life, I mutter, immediately embarrassed by the drama of it. Gloria doesn't blink. Honey, I've been serving coffee for 40 years. I know heartbreak when I see it. She slides a menu toward me. Family or boyfriend? Family. She nods knowingly. Blood makes you related. Love and respect make you family. Her weathered hand rests briefly on mine. The special's good today. Comes with extra bacon. I order it and wrap my hands around the mug, letting the heat seep into my fingers. Her words echo as snowflakes dissolve against the window glass. Love and respect make you family. For 34 years, I've been related to the Harper family. Maybe it's time to find out what real family feels like. 3 weeks later, I wake in Rachel's San Francisco apartment to sunlight pouring through terracotta-colored walls. My phone vibrates on the nightstand for the 13th time that morning. Dad. Again. I silence it, adding his call to the growing graveyard of voicemails. The first week, their messages were confused. The second, concerned. By week 3, they've curdled into something darker, control disguised as care. I finally listened to one voicemail. Evelyn Harper, Dad thunders, if you don't return this car immediately, I will report it stolen. This childish behavior has gone on long enough. My Toyota. Paid off. Registered in my name. Mom's message follows. The doctor says my blood pressure is dangerously high because of the stress you're causing. Is that what you want? For me to end up in the hospital because you're being selfish? I delete both messages. My finger hovers for a second longer than I'd like to admit before I lock the screen. Rachel's spare bedroom feels both foreign and safe. On the dresser sits my laptop, open to an email I've rewritten 14 times. Dear Mr. Sanderson, I am writing to formally request a transfer to the San Francisco office, effective immediately. No favors. No family connections. Just my work record. Before I can reconsider, I click send. 3 hours later, the reply arrives. Approved. Just like that. Rachel appears in the doorway, reading my expression. You got it? I start Monday, I say, still stunned. She grins. Already called Andrea from book club. She manages apartments in the Mission District. Rent controlled. Safe building. 20-minute walk to your new office. You didn't have to, I wanted to, she cuts in. Friends help friends. No strings attached. The tears I've been holding back for weeks threaten to spill. I also made you an appointment, she adds, sliding a business card onto my laptop. Dr. Karen Holt, PhD, Family Therapy. I'm not crazy, I whisper. No, Rachel agrees. But you've been carrying something heavy for a long time. It might help to put it down somewhere safe. Dr. Holt's office smells faintly of lemon polish and old books. She doesn't rush me, doesn't fill the silence while I search for words that have never been spoken aloud. Favoritism, I finally say. My entire life. And how did that make you feel? She asks softly. Like I was worth exactly $2. Later that week, Andrea shows me a small apartment, 650 square feet, a kitchenette barely wide enough for a refrigerator. But the west-facing windows spill golden light across hardwood floors. It's perfect, I say, surprising myself. By nightfall, it's mine. I buy a futon, a lamp, and a small desk. Nothing more. The emptiness feels intentional, not lacking. Space to grow. That Saturday, Rachel drags me to a community center. Pottery class, she announces. You need something that isn't work or therapy. I protest until my hands sink into cool clay, feeling it yield and resist at the same time. The instructor, a woman with silver hair and paint-splattered overalls, stands behind me. Don't force it, she murmurs. Listen to what it wants to become. By the end of class, I've made a small, uneven bowl. It's imperfect. And completely mine. For the first time in my life, I'm not being shaped by someone else's expectations. The first video call comes 4 weeks after Christmas. I stare at my phone for a full 3 rings before answering, bracing myself against the familiar surge of guilt that rises whenever my parents' faces appear on a screen. Where have you been? Robert demands immediately. His face fills the frame, flushed with indignation. Your mother has been worried sick. Behind him, Susan dabs at her eyes. The tears look rehearsed, precise. San Francisco, I answer evenly. You transferred offices without discussing it with us first. Mom cuts in, edging closer to the camera. How could you be so inconsiderate? The old reflex tugs at my chest, apologize, explain, fix it. Instead, I hear Dr. Holt's calm voice in my head, your feelings are valid. Their reactions belong to them. I needed space, I say. Space from what? Dad snaps. From family. From responsibility. From growing up. From feeling invisible, I reply, surprised by the steadiness in my voice. From being valued less than Madeline. From trying to earn love that should have been freely given. Mom's tears start instantly, right on cue. How can you say such hurtful things? We loved you both the same. I'm not responsible for your feelings anymore, I tell her. The words feel like stones I've carried in my mouth for years, finally released. I'm responsible for mine. Dad slams his palm against the table. This conversation is over until you're ready to apologize. Then I guess we are done talking, I say, and end the call. In the days that follow, rumors reach me through LinkedIn messages and texts from former co-workers. According to family law, I've had a breakdown. I'm living in squalor. I've joined a cult. Madeline's Instagram fills with filtered photos of her looking concerned, captions about family heartbreak, and praying for those struggling with mental health. My new co-workers know none of this. They see only my work, the precision of my calculations, the clarity of my designs. When Madeline shows up unannounced at the office reception 10 days later, Rachel happens to be dropping off lunch. She's in a meeting, Rachel says coolly. And she'll remain in meetings indefinitely for uninvited visitors. Wednesday nights, I attend a therapy group in a church basement that smells like coffee and old hymnals. 8 strangers, connected by similar wounds. Family doesn't get a pass just because they are family, says Raymond, a 60-year-old accountant who hasn't spoken to his brother in 20 years. Love without respect isn't love. It's possession. The words settle deep in my chest. 6 months after Christmas, my apartment has transformed. Pottery lines the windowsills, each piece more refined than the last. A real bed has replaced the futon. A promotion to senior project manager comes with a raise that dissolves any lingering financial anxiety. On my bookshelf sits the plastic piggy bank. I've filled it with crisp $2 bills, one for every week of freedom. Not as punishment, but as a reminder. Sometimes the smallest betrayals reveal the largest truths. As the next holiday season approaches, I feel both dread and relief. No gifts to buy that won't be appreciated. No performances to maintain. No quiet diminishment to endure. Just me, in a space I created, becoming someone I'm finally learning to value. Worth far more than $2. A month later, an ivory envelope sits on my kitchen counter like a landmine. 3 days pass before I open it. Olivia Grant's wedding invitation. My cousin. My name written in elegant calligraphy. Evelyn Harper. No +1. Just me. Expected to return alone. So what are you thinking? Dr. Holt asks during our session, leaning forward in her chair. I'm going, I say slowly. But on my terms. Her eyebrows lift slightly. That's a change from last week. I've booked a room at the Hilton, 4 blocks from the venue, I continue. Dad called twice, insisting I stay at their rental house. And what did you say? Nothing. I smile. The boundary is the message. 7 months of therapy has given me the vocabulary of self-protection. 7 months since I drove away on Christmas morning. During the session, my phone buzzes again. Madeline, can't wait to see you next weekend. We need sister time before the wedding madness. I slide the phone back into my purse without responding. Dr. Holt notices. Your sister again. Suddenly, we are best friends, I say, the laugh hollow. She never texted this much when we lived in the same city. What do you think she wants? A ride. Money. The old me. I glance down at the fabric swatch on my lap, midnight blue silk for the dress I've commissioned. 3 fittings to ensure it hangs perfectly. Skims my curves without apology. The color of power, not reconciliation. I'm terrified, I admit quietly. But I'm also ready. Dr. Holt nods. Those 2 feelings can exist together. For the first time, I believe her. The rumors start before I even board the plane. LinkedIn messages from distant relatives. Texts from former co-workers who suddenly just wanted to check in. Everyone has a version of the story, and none of them include my voice. By the time Friday arrives, San Francisco is wrapped in fog that burns away as the plane climbs. Somewhere over Oregon, the clouds part, revealing the familiar landscape of my childhood. My heartbeat quickens as we descend into Portland. The rehearsal dinner venue glows gold against the twilight sky. I stand on the sidewalk for a moment, touching the smooth stone pendant Rachel gave me before I left. Strength isn't about not feeling fear, she'd said. It's about feeling it and walking forward anyway. I straighten my shoulders and pull open the heavy wooden door. Conversations halt mid-sentence. My mother's hand flies to her throat. My father freezes, drink halfway to his lips. The woman who fled on Christmas morning was a shadow. This woman, wearing tailored black pants, an emerald silk blouse, and heels that announce each step, is solid and present. The diamond studs in my ears catch the light as I scan the room, offering polite nods instead of rushing toward anyone. Madeline reaches me first, arms open. Something about her looks different. The designer watch is gone. Her highlights have grown out. Her smile strains at the edges. You look amazing, she says, hugging me briefly. Thank you, I reply, stepping back to reclaim my space. How's the BMW treating you? Her eyes flick away. I had to trade it in. Got a Honda. More practical. Beyond her shoulder, I spot my parents huddled with Aunt Martha. Mom dabs at her eyes with a cocktail napkin. Dad's shoulders slump forward in a posture I've never seen. Cousin Tara appears at my elbow, vodka tonic in hand. I'm so glad you're here, she whispers. You wouldn't believe the drama since Christmas. Oh, and your parents are selling the house. She leans closer. Medical bills, they say. But everyone knows they've been floating Madeline for years. Reality finally caught up. A waiter passes with champagne. I take a glass, watching the bubbles rise and burst. Just like family stories, what rises eventually pops. Relatives orbit toward me throughout the evening. Uncle Simon tells me I look well. Cousin Michael confesses he always noticed how differently I was treated. Aunt Martha hugs me too tightly and whispers that Dad lost his job 3 months ago, that Mom's on anxiety medication. I absorb each revelation with the detachment of someone watching waves break from higher ground. During cocktail hour, Dad corners me. Bourbon hangs heavy on his breath. Family sticks together, Evelyn, he says, the old authority in his voice cracked around the edges. Does it? I meet his gaze. Or do some family members stick together while others get pushed aside? His jaw tightens. We've always supported you. $2 in a piggy bank, I reply softly. That was your definition of support. He opens his mouth, closes it, then turns away. In the ladies' room, Mom appears beside me at the sink. We miss you so much, she says, reaching for my hand. I keep washing mine, soap slick between my fingers. I miss who I thought you were, too. On the terrace, roses scent the evening air. Madeline pulls me aside, eyes glassy. The BMW got repossessed, she blurts. Design clients dried up. Dad can't help anymore. Her voice cracks. I don't know how to do this, Evie. I never learned how to stand on my own. 7 months ago, I would have rushed to fix it. Instead, I place a hand gently on her arm. That sounds really hard, I say. Compassion without responsibility. I'm sorry you're going through that. Her eyes widen slightly. I can help you make a budget, I add, but I can't fix this for you. She nods slowly, as if hearing a new language. The next morning, sunlight pours through tall windows at Magnolia Gardens. Bridesmaids bustle around Olivia, who glows with nervous joy. Your parents are looking for you, Aunt Martha whispers. They are in the library. Said it's important. Of course it is. The library door feels heavier than it should as I push it open. Mom sits stiffly in a high-backed chair, tissues ready. Dad paces by the fireplace. Madeline stands by the window in an expensive dress. We need to talk as a family, Mom says. I remain near the door. I'm listening. Dad gestures to an empty chair facing them. A staged intervention. I sit, spine straight. Dad lost his job. Mom's depressed. They are selling the house. The perfect storm of guilt and crisis. 7 months ago, I would have folded. Today, I don't. I'm sorry you're going through this, I say calmly. But these are choices you made long before I left. Confusion ripples across their faces. I reach into my purse and remove a leather-bound photo album. I brought something to show you. And for the first time in my life, I let the truth take up space. The room falls silent as I open the photo album across my lap. Thick pages turn slowly, deliberately. I want them to see. The first spread shows 2 birthdays side by side. Madeline's party, princess costumes, hired entertainers, a towering cake shaped like a castle. On the opposite page, my celebration the same year. A grocery store sheet cake on our kitchen table, paper plates, 2 friends from school. Do you remember these? I ask. Dad's jaw tightens. This is ridiculous. I keep turning pages. Christmas mornings where Madeline's side of the tree overflows with boxes, while mine holds a few carefully chosen, practical gifts. Graduation photos, hers framed and displayed, mine tucked into envelopes. Family vacations where I appear only in the background, if at all. I spent months compiling this, I say evenly. Evidence of what I always felt, but was told wasn't real. Mom shakes her head. We did the best we could. I reach into my purse again, and pull out a folder. Bank statements. Loan documents. My student loans, I say. $67,000. Still paying them. I slide another page forward. Madeline's education. Fully funded. Including her year in Europe. That's not fair, Madeline snaps. You chose engineering. It was my passion, I correct. Just like art was yours. The difference is my passion wasn't considered worth investing in. Dad's face reddens. We didn't have the money when you went to college. I don't hesitate. You did. Your promotion came when I was 16. Grandma's inheritance arrived before my freshman year. I checked the records years ago. The truth hangs heavy in the air. Dad exhales sharply. We always knew you'd be fine. You were capable. There it is. Being capable doesn't mean I deserved less love, I say. My voice remains steady, though heat burns behind my eyes. Being responsible didn't mean I should carry everyone else's burdens. Mom's tears finally spill, real this time. We never meant to hurt you. Intent doesn't erase impact. I stand and place the plastic piggy bank on the coffee table between us. It makes the same hollow sound it did on Christmas morning. Dad stares at it. What is this supposed to prove? I remove the rubber stopper. Dozens of crisp $2 bills spill out, catching the light. I saved one for every week since Christmas, I explain. Not as punishment. As a reminder. This was never about money. It was about what you thought I was worth. Madeline picks up one of the bills, turning it over slowly. Her voice is quieter. I never realized how it looked from your side. They never taught me how to stand on my own. Outside the library, footsteps pass. In minutes, the wedding will begin, celebrating love while our family confronts the absence of it. I don't want apologies, I say, gathering the album. I want change. I'll consider reconciliation under 2 conditions: family therapy and respect for my boundaries. Dad opens his mouth to argue, but Mom places a hand on his arm. We'll do it, she says softly. Whatever it takes. I leave the piggy bank's contents on the table. Keep it. A reminder of what happens when one child is valued over another. As I reach the door, I pause. I need to take my seat. My friend Rachel is saving me a place. Behind me, I hear Madeline whisper, she's different now. She's right. Months later, sunlight spills across the hardwood floors of my San Francisco apartment. Friends gather around a table that finally feels like mine. Laughter fills the room, real laughter, unforced. To Evelyn, Rachel says, lifting her glass. Who builds bridges better than anyone I know? Beside her, Daniel Wright squeezes my hand under the table. An environmental engineer who understands both structural integrity and emotional ones. I catch his eye and smile. The piggy bank sits on the mantel now, no longer a symbol of lack but of clarity. After dessert, my phone buzzes. A photo from Madeline, a misshapen clay ornament. First pottery attempt. Not pretty, but honest. Another message follows from Mom, found this while downsizing. It always belonged to you. Attached is a photo of my childhood dollhouse, and paperwork transferring it into my name. Later, when the guests have gone, Daniel helps with the dishes. Need help? He asks. I've got it, I start, then stop myself. Actually, yes. Progress isn't loud. Sometimes it's just letting someone stay. I step onto the balcony. The city stretches out before me, bridges lit against dark water. Buildings I helped design stand tall in the distance. Worth isn't something earned through usefulness. It's something claimed by knowing what you will, and won't, accept. Christmas morning arrives quietly. Sunlight spills across the hardwood floors of my San Francisco apartment, warming the pottery-lined windowsills. Rosemary and sage drift from the kitchen where the turkey roasts, the scent mingling with fresh coffee and laughter. Not the brittle, performative kind I grew up with, but the easy laughter of people who choose to be here. To Evelyn, Rachel says, lifting her glass. Who taught me that strength can be gentle. And to Senior Project Manager Harper, Daniel adds, his smile warm. Whose team finished the Richardson Tower 2 weeks early. My cheeks heat as I laugh, shaking my head. A year ago, I placed my house key on my parents' counter and drove away into the dark. Today, I stand in a home I built, piece by piece, surrounded by people who see me. Later, as plates are cleared and dessert is passed around, my phone buzzes with a video call. Madeline. We agreed on monthly calls after the wedding, structure where chaos used to live. I answer. Merry Christmas, she says. Her apartment behind her is smaller, simpler. No designer furniture. No luxury car outside the window. Working 2 jobs has given her shadows beneath her eyes, and perspective. You look happy, she says softly. Your place feels like home. It finally does, I reply, angling the camera to show my small pottery studio. Bowls and vases line the shelves, imperfect and honest. How are Mom and Dad? I ask. She hesitates. Dad's 90 days sober. AA meetings are helping. She tilts the phone to show him sitting quietly in a modest living room, smaller somehow without his authority filling the space. Mom's volunteering at the community center again. I nod, absorbing the information without urgency or guilt. After we hang up, conversation resumes around my table, stories from work, pottery class mishaps, plans for the new year. No one mentions the piggy bank on the mantel, now filled with bills that represent lessons rather than resentment. Later that evening, when the apartment is quiet, Daniel helps me with the last dishes. Deep thoughts, he asks. Just grateful, I answer. We step onto the balcony together. The bay stretches out before us, bridge lights reflecting on dark water. Buildings I helped design stand in silhouette against the night sky. Worth isn't something you earn by being useful, I whisper. It's something you claim by knowing what you won't accept. Daniel wraps a blanket around my shoulders. I lean into the warmth. Life continues, not perfectly, but honestly. Therapy becomes less about survival and more about direction. Pottery bowls grow smoother, more intentional. Work challenges me without consuming me. Love arrives without demanding sacrifice. Spring brings an email from Mom, short, careful, respectful. We're starting family therapy next week. No pressure. Just letting you know. I don't respond immediately. Boundaries don't require urgency. Months later, I visit Portland for the first time since the wedding. I stay in a hotel. We meet in public spaces. Conversations remain contained, imperfect, but no longer dangerous. One afternoon, Dad hands me a small envelope. Inside is a check, repayment for the student loans they never helped with. No speech. No guilt. I can't undo the past, he says quietly. But I can stop pretending it didn't happen. It's not forgiveness. But it's accountability. And that's enough for now. On the anniversary of the Christmas I left, I stand alone in my apartment, holding the plastic piggy bank. I turn it over in my hands, then empty it gently onto the table. The bills scatter like fallen leaves. I place them into a small wooden box, the same one that once held my first blueprint. The piggy bank, now empty, goes into the recycling bin. Some symbols don't need to be carried forever. That night, Daniel and I walk through the city, lights glittering around us. We stop on a bridge, the wind sharp and alive. You okay? He asks. I am, I say, and realize it's true. Not because everything is fixed, but because I'm no longer shrinking to make room for others. Next Christmas, we host again. Friends fill the apartment. Madeline brings a homemade dessert, burned at the edges, earnest. Mom and Dad send a card. No manipulation. Just a simple message, we're thinking of you. I place it on the shelf beside my pottery. When the evening winds down and the city quiets, I sit by the window, watching lights ripple across the bay. I think of the woman I was, the one who believed love had to be earned through usefulness, silence, and sacrifice. She got me here. But she doesn't get to stay. I am the woman who walked away from a lifetime of diminishment and built something better from the foundation up. I am the architect of my own life now. And for the first time, that feels like home.